Star Radio on WCSU. Moving.
All right, and we are back. How the hair are you, everyone? I am here with Miss Maryam. She is a licensed cosmetologist and educator. And we were talking about this 30-day hair detox, which I found to be very interesting because, as I was saying on the other segment, it's the first time that I've seen people moving away from all of these natural oils and these potions. So I want to get your perspective because I know that you have a very strong opinion, especially about the aesthetics of the hair.
Right.
So can you kind of give a little bit about history in terms of your experience with working with different oils and pomades and what it really does to the hair in your experience?
Well, directly from my own experience is that I know that these last couple years, I think about 10 years or so, people have been transitioning that if they had never had, if they haven't already been natural, they transition to natural, but product manufacturers jump on that. Everything that they see that the people want, they overpopulate the stores with products and things to make them, persuade them to buy them, making them feel like that it's better for the hair. And oils in particular, whereas I don't think that every oil is bad. I know grease is a no-no. Grease is nothing but like a choke. I call it a choker because it chokes the hair follicle, so no hair is really allowed to efficiently grow, and it can cause other problems like dandruff and things of that nature where the consumer mixes up moisture with oil.
So let me ask you this. I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but you said something that prompts me to kind of be like the hair police kind of sort of.
Yeah.
Because you were saying that it does not allow the hair to grow effectively. And so what I always try to do is make sure that when we're not talking about opinions, because I have a whole host of opinions and I know you have opinions based on your experience, but can you actually say that you've noticed that hair grows better when you don't use oil? Because I haven't seen data on that.
Well, do I have proof? No, that I think is more of my opinion. But the reason why I have said that is because from my own experience and clients that I know who stopped using grease in particular, different types, I won't name names of the grease, but it's like they say that my hair won't grow. And where we know that hair does grow a quarter to a half an inch a month, I do believe that things that you can do to your scalp, you can have a scalp condition or you can be putting on a product that's not allowing your hair to reach its fullest potential of growth because the follicle is clogged up with different things. And it could just be a scalp condition. So that's just like my analysis from years of watching when I eliminated grease from people's regimen and just persuaded them to not use it, that their hair flourished more. So that's what I'm basing it on.
Okay.
And as far as like oils and things, there are some that I have seen penetrate the skin, meaning when you put it on your body, it actually disappears as opposed to sitting on top of the hair. I do believe that too much of anything is bad, but I don't think that everything that's out there is going to improve your situation. What works for one person will not always work for you. And when you're compiling from this 30-day challenge that I read through, some of the statements that she talked about is so true, whereas we're compiling like butters and oils and leave-in conditioners all on your hair and not shampooing it. Well, it may feel a little more manageable, but you may start to wonder, why is it still dry? Why is it still breaking? Why is it? And I've seen this happen with my own clients who would come in, mostly natural girls, who, when they decided to become natural, they feel like natural is better. Natural hair is stronger than relaxed hair, hands down. But both can be unhealthy.
Absolutely.
And if you put a whole bunch of stuff on relaxed or natural hair, you can have some major, major problems because it's not allowing the hair shaft to actually flourish if it's piled with so many things. And one of the things that was in this 30-day cleanse that I totally agree with my own eyes. I've seen this happen is that water is so important internally and externally. It's one of the most important things if you want to have healthy hair. And when you shampoo your hair, it does two things that's, it's like a given. It softens the hair right away. And for two, it adds something that your hair seems to be missing when it's dry and in the elements. So if you think about this, just draw a picture for yourself. You wet your hair and then you start to pile conditioner on, which is supposed to be a sealant to the cuticle. Then you put some leave-in conditioner on, which is another sealant. It's coated on top of the conditioner because it's never completely rinsed all the way out. The reason why we shampoo and condition is to remove and to replace. So and then after that you want to put some oil on the cream moisturizer, and then you want to pile oil on top of that. And then we did this Sunday. Let's hypothetically say we did this Sunday. By Tuesday, you feel like you need some more on your hair, so it feels dry. But don't assume that the reason why it's dry is just because you have dry hair. You have blocked out what the hair actually needs to be at its fullest potential, and you base the things that you may have been putting on your hair on what someone else may have been using. And again, I know we're not talking opinions, but my whole thing is less is best. So you find one thing that works, and I would say stick with that instead of going on YouTube and trying to get, advice from non-professionals and people who you see their end result, but you don't really know what processes they went through to actually get there. So it's like the blind leading the blind. You don't really know if 30 minutes before they filmed that YouTube video, they spent like 5 hours trying to actually make their hair look a certain way or appear healthier than it actually is. Mm-hmm. And I think that oils sometimes give the illusion of moisture. It gives the illusion of shine. But once you shampoo it off, the whole test of healthy hair is that it's elastic. The elasticity is on point, and when you comb through it, it's not breaking every time that you comb through it. And a lot of natural and relaxed people experience that, and it could be because they clog it with so many products.
So I want to talk about each of the steps because they have a total of 5 things that they emphasize. Mm-hmm. And it's 5 things you should know about our 30-day hair detox challenge. And I believe the challenge, there is a date associated with it. I want to say it's
February 22nd.
Okay, yeah. So this is going to be really interesting. But one of the things they talk about are coconut oil, shea butter, castor oils being heavy oils. And getting to your point in terms of we want moisture, but then they say that these oils are the most heaviest. Yeah. And from a scientific standpoint, what I can definitely say is that not all oils or different butters, not all of them penetrate into the hair shaft to the same degree.
Right.
But one thing I can say is olive oil and coconut oil are definitely 2 that can penetrate.
Yes.
And when it penetrates, that you can use a clarifying shampoo and it will not come out.
That's true.
It takes a while for it to come out. So you're right. You have that longevity. And like you said, it weighs down the hair aesthetically. But from a scientific standpoint, it's interesting because the strongest hair that we were able to measure when I was in industry is hair in India. Mm-hmm. And they use a lot of those oils now. Mind you, their hair is primarily straight. Some of them say they have curly hair, but that's all subjective. But they feel that their hair can be curly. But compared to ours, it's straight. And they really have a tendency to have stronger hair, and those oils really do contribute to it.
Yeah.
They like to have their hair to be shiny and straight, and that's one of the ways that they achieve that. But that's how they wear their hair, straight, and it only, to them, when you ask them about when they have their best hair days, it's actually like right after it's done. Mm-hmm. And probably no more than 2 days after.
Right.
And then they say, okay, it's way down, but then they go and they add more oil, which is contributing towards them having the quote-unquote greasies and not having it look the way they want it to look. But that's just misinformation, them really not understanding what they're doing. But it does benefit the hair. But if you're okay with that look and you can tolerate it, it's not doing anything bad to the hair, but what they do wash their hair.
Right.
They aren't doing the no pooing.
Right.
They're not cold washing.
Right.
They're actually getting some of it out, or at least topically, they're getting some of it out. So you have to just know that all of the advice that you hear is not based on what our practices are. And you have to be mindful that it really is not conducive, especially if you put heat on your hair. So if you're wearing your hair and straight and you're putting heat on it and you're natural and you're putting all these oils on it, it really is not beneficial.
Yeah, and I want to talk on that too. The ladies who are going to get their natural hair blown out straight, one of the contributing factors to your hair reverting quicker is that you put too many products on it. The hair has a tendency to frizz up when there's too many things kind of combating each other. So like when your stylist does your hair, she's doing shampoo, conditioner, and perhaps putting an aid on it to kind of keep it straight longer. But if you then go and put like oils on it, sometimes it can kind of cause the hair to revert because it doesn't really know how to behave at this moment. Like, so everything that you do, in other words, everything that you do with your hair when it's in its natural state is almost the opposite when it's actually blown out and you're wearing it straight. And two, what Crystal said is that the oils aren't always doing anything bad to your hair, but too much of anything is not going to be good, and it's going to be harder to have a clean slate and, get the products out of your hair. It's like the hair has a mind of its own at some point,
And I want to talk about what you said about water and moisture, because it really is important for those of us who have curly hair. I think everyone has had this experience of washing their naturally curly hair, or sometimes you can even have a relaxer and you can wash your hair and let it air dry.
Yeah.
And then you try to manipulate it and it
stuck.
Starts to, break and it's all stiff. And so what water allows you to do, so from a scientific perspective, it's called, it plasticizes the hair, meaning that it makes it more pliable or more movable. And so it makes it, you can manipulate it easier because the fibers are able to move past one another easily, basically. And so when you don't have water and the hair, dries, and it, like in the wintertime when the humidity is lower and your hair actually becomes a little bit more brittle because it lacks the moisture in the air, you really have to be diligent about making sure that you have products that lubricate, but at the same time you have to have, like you said, the moisture and the water. Not to wet it to the point where it's going to revert and then you have problems with it, but there are products that allow you to still have that flexibility in the fiber where you can manage it and not have that breakage.
Yeah, that's a detailed topic to talk about, because we see a lot of moisturizers, quote unquote, and the first ingredient we've been led to believe that it should be water. Water is great, but I do think everything has its place when it should be applied to hair, because my theory, and I'm only saying this is my theory because I'm trying to help you guys make it make sense, is that if you're putting some kind of water-based moisturizer in your hair and then walking outside, your hair may tend to feel drier because the climate is cold. So the product, if you putting too much on it, is going to freeze into your hair. Same thing with coconut oil, which solidifies at room temperature. It can appear to seem great in the summer on your hair, it's so soft and this and that, but then when it's cold outside, it's going to do that exact thing on your hair strands. And I'm talking to women with longer strands, because it can stiffen up and give you the feeling of dry, brittle hair, which would then make it less manageable too. So that's something to consider, times in which you use certain products too. I mean, that's a detailed topic, and you all can go to my website and we can talk about that further, but think about your products, learn about them before you start compiling them in your hair and becoming frustrated because one is not working with the other,
So there are a total of 5, and we're going to have to move through these because the segment will be over before we know it. But they talk about the Echo Styler, so basically those gels.
Yes.
And I actually love what they say about it, because they consulted a stylist and she said she prefers to use it for weddings, photo shoots, and special events. for hairdos that are very specific, and I agree 100%.
Yeah. Now, with the Eco Styler gel, it's almost, and forgive me for saying it, those of you who love it, but it's the less of two evils. If you do put it on your hair, now I'm not going to say anything against it because I've suggested it in addition, as opposed to other gels that's out there. But do not feel like, and listen to me well, do not feel like every time you do your hair within a week's time you have to keep putting it back on your hair. If the product is on your hair, this is one product that is not going to penetrate. You can simply add water to it to loosen it back up, and then it's the same product. It's like you're reactivating it to restyle your hair. Please do not keep piling this gel on your hair where it does not have alcohol in it. It still can clog up your the pores in your scalp and cause hair loss if you're putting too much on it. So be mindful of that gel. Is not meant to be using too much of it. And those of you who are putting it on your actual strands and it's used for more than just slicking down your edges, be mindful of that too, because it does dry and it can coat the hair to a point where it, you'll have dry hair once you try to rinse it out. So.
Right, and the other thing that I would like to add is when you try to manipulate with that gel on there, you can break the hair, but it takes more force for you to actually
get through it.
I don't advise brushes. I tell people if you could live without a brush, try to just, use a comb, even if it's a fine tooth comb over a brush, but that's a whole nother topic. But keep in mind when you manipulate with gels that you have a very high potential of breaking your hair. And we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3, they talk about if you suffer from dry, frizzy hair, this challenge is for you. And they talk about when hair is shampooed and sealed with either coconut oil or shea butter, the hair is blocked from absorbing any moisture from the atmosphere. So that kind of hits on what we were talking about before. So that's the same thing. But one thing that they talk about with the oils and the butters is that it causes hair buildup.
No, it does, and I'm going to just say this real quick. Just remember this, if nothing else. When you shampoo your hair, condition it, the first time you put the oils and stuff on is enough. Don't do it every day of the week, because that's what really causes the buildup. And once a week shampooing is the best option. Not every 2 weeks, not every 4 or 5 weeks. And the co-washing thing is another topic too. But yeah. So just remember, the first time you do it should be enough. If it's not and your hair, you still don't like the way your hair feels, you need to move to something else.
Yeah, absolutely. So the hair buildup is a real problem, and the co-washing. So the last part that they talk about is water solubility. And when they talk about water solubility, they're talking about you have to be able to get the products off your hair. So when you have a shampoo, and when I say shampoo, I'm not talking about the no pooling and the co-washing. I'm talking about a real shampoo. Not even talking about a clarifying shampoo.
Right.
If you have a regular shampoo, what you need to emphasize, or what I need to emphasize, is that it has the way that it's chemically made up. It has a water-liking part and it has an oil-liking part.
Right.
The oil-liking part will actually help to degrease and get a lot of the dirt and residue out of your hair. Right. And the water part allows it to wash it away. So I say that because when they talk about water solubility being important is when you're no-pooing or you're co-washing, you are not getting everything out of your hair.
No.
And it does not, over the long term, which is why this is a detox, it is not good for the hair, because as you manipulate it, you're continuing to increase that drag or more force to actually manipulate it or comb through it, and that's just not good.
Yeah, and even if your hair has amazing slip and this, you feel like it feels better when I don't shampoo it, you're not giving your hair, like you're buying products, and some are spending a lot of money on products, but you're not giving your hair a clean slate to actually receive the goodness. Once you shampoo your hair away, it's like all the product that you piled on top of those oils, those creams, those gels and stuff is washing away too. So you're basically having the same situation that you had before. The one thing that's in this this blogger's notes is that conditioner, people sleeping with conditioner in their hair overnight. The conditioner is designed to work for the amount of time that's on the product bottle. If we're sleeping with it overnight, it's not benefiting your hair even more. In fact, some people wake up with mushy hair because of it, because they're sleeping in it. And everything that we use in our hair, believe it or not, whether you're natural or relaxed, has some chemical formulation, and it can have some detrimental effects on the hair as well if you're not careful. So, I just wanted to touch on that. The sleeping with the conditioner in, I don't recommend that at all. It's not helping you more.
Well, the other thing that she says that I absolutely love from a chemist standpoint is she said water is a chemical, and yes, water is a chemical.
It is. It has a pH and everything.
So I love that she was very, open and honest about that, and she is giving good advice. Your hair does need a break. So for the 30-day detox, you can get information about that on chocolatecurlsbeauty.com. So if you Google that, it'll come up and it'll say 30-day hair detox challenge. And what was the date again? You said the
February 22nd. And I encourage all clients, if you're willing to go through this detox, if you do go to the salon and get your hair done, once your stylist does your hair, I encourage you to not put anything extra in your hair either. So we want to see if within 30 days you may have a better head of hair. And I'm on board with it. I feel like it's a good thing. I feel like this person who did this blog did a little homework of her own and studied a little bit, because I'm not a bandwagon type of person, and when I read the things, I was like, yeah, she kind of knows a little bit of something. So.
And then it at least gives you the ability to be able to determine whether or not this is something that is an option for you.
Yeah.
You may actually save some money.
Yeah, you probably will. And do the process of elimination.
Right.
You can eliminate the good and eliminate the bad and keep some of the good.
So I am going to close this segment because we are out of time. We actually have next the midday matchup with Sam. Sam will be on the air next. But I do want to give a shout out to my daughter. This is her birthday. She just returned from Japan this past weekend. And then she came home, and now she's celebrating her 22nd birthday. So happy birthday, baby.
Hey. And a shout out to all of my lovely clients that are tuning in today. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys this week.
All right, and with that, I am going to end with my ex-co-host. She had this line that I absolutely love, and I use it. This is all her, though. But she would always say, take care and love your hair. And with that, we'll see you next week at 10. Thanks. Bye-bye.